Welcome back. This podcast explores the wisdom of generosity from ancient to modern and the beautiful space where generosity occurs. Earlier this week, I read an article about goals and whether to envision the outcome or the process to reach the outcome. This article referenced the life and work of John Chapman, otherwise known as Johnny Appleseed. Like many, I pictured Johnny Appleseed as wandering aimlessly around the countryside, randomly sprinkling seeds that grew into trees and, against all odds, orchards. But that wasn't the case at all. Instead, Johnny Appleseed, following his religious beliefs, knew the outcome he wanted: more apple trees for cider as an alternative to unsafe drinking water, but then planned the process in which he met his goal. This came directly from his beliefs that our goals cannot be reached unless we act concretely upon them. This week, I'm reading a quote that sums up Johnny Appleseed's beliefs from Heaven and Hell by Emanuel Swedenborg, published in 1758. Quote, "Again, it must be understood that in deeds or works, the whole man, or person, is exhibited, and that his will and thought, or his love and faith, which are his interiors, are not complete until they exist in deeds or works, which are his exteriors. For these are the outmost, in which the will and the thought terminate. And without such terminations, they are interminate, and have as of yet no existence, that is, are not yet in the man. To think and to will without doing, when there is opportunity, is like a flame enclosed in a vessel and goes out. Also, like a seed cast upon the sand, which fails to grow, and so perishes it within its power of germination. But to think and to will, and from that to do, is like a flame that gives heat and light all around, or like a seed in the ground that grows up into a tree or a flower and continues to live. Everyone can know that willing and not doing when there is opportunity is not willing. Also, that loving and not doing good when there is opportunity is not loving, but mere thought that one wills and loves, and that this thought separate, which vanishes and is dissipated. Love and will constitute the soul itself of a deed or work, and give form to its body in its most honest and just things that the man does. This is the sole source of man's spiritual body, or the body of his spirit. That is, it is formed solely out of the things that a man does from his love or will. In a word, all things of man and his spirit are contained in his deeds and works." Unquote. As I read this quote in the article, I thought of our fundraising goals and our conversations with donors. We can set goals based on an outcome, that is the number of dollars raised, or we can set goals based on the process of reaching the outcome, that is the number of phone calls and meetings, or the number of opportunities presented for donors to give. As the article and the quote allude to, we are more likely to reach the outcome goal if we envision the process to reach the outcome and create goals around that process. More importantly, by creating process goals when we meet with donors, the conversation is undergirded less by the outcome, and instead the process of giving donors the opportunity to be generous. Let's reflect on 2 questions this week. How many of your fundraising goals are outcome goals, and how many are process goals? How would your conversations with donors be different if you focused on process goals? Share this podcast if you enjoy these 5-minute reflections, and subscribe to receive these reflections released every Monday. To explore fundraising coaching deeper, visit servingnonprofits.com. See you next week.